Welcome to the Saucy Scribes podcast. I'm Alex, your resident book psycho.
I'm Allie, your aspiring author.
And I'm Jo, your book bestie.
Today we're diving deep into Crescent City, House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas, the third installment and currently latest book in the CC universe, where the rebellion goes to new heights, loyalties across worlds are tested, and the stories in Lunathian come to a conclusion for now.
And because some stories are best unpacked with a drink in hand, on this podcast, we pair great books with even better cocktails. Today, we're giving you a quick rundown of the drinks we've lined up for this episode. So keep an eye on our Instagram at SaucyScribesPod, where the full recipes drop every Monday. This month, we're continuing our Crescent City cocktail lineup, a world of neon lights, ancient magic, dangerous politics, and enough emotional devastation to require a stiff pour. These drinks are bold, electric, and a little unhinged, just like the city itself. So grab a glass, cue the scents, and let's dive into Crescent City Cocktails, House of Flame and Shadow.
First up, we have When Blades Answer. It's that moment when two forces meet and instead of clashing, recognize each other. Sharp citrus cuts clean, basil rises green and alive, and everything settles into perfect, deliberate balance. Not every power announces itself loudly. Some are quiet, precise, inevitable.
Next, we have A Valen Awakening. In that quiet shift, the moment clarity breaks through the haze, cool cucumber and bright Meyer lemon rise first, while a soft thread of smoke lingers underneath, grounding what's just beginning to emerge, something ancient. It stirs slowly through mist, through memory, through something just beneath the surface.
Flame and Shadow is that tension, the slow burn beneath the surface, the smoke that lingers long after the spark. Inspired by when Roga hands Ethan a mysterious smoking drink in House of Flame and Shadow, it's described as dark and amber with a bite of ginger and a haze of rising smoke. Some power doesn't choose between light and dark, it becomes both.
For our mocktail, The Ascent is that moment. The shift upward, carried on brightness and spark, the tart cherry and lime cut clean, lifted by a gentle effervescence that builds with every sip. Not every rise is loud. Some feel like breath returning, like light breaking through.
4 drinks, one world of secrets, power, and rebellion. Each sip carries danger, desire, and the quiet fires that drive these characters forward. Bright, smoky, fiery, and relentless, these cocktails are a taste of Midgard itself. Pour, sip, and remember, some stories are meant to be experienced with a drink in hand. Cheers!
Cheers!
I'm actually drinking
Cheers.
an Ascent today, but mine is the non-mocktail version, the cocktail version.
I'm drinking the A Valen Awakening. Delicious.
I'm also drinking The Ascent, but mine is the tart cherry and not a mocktail.
Ooh, delicious.
Our Patreon is live. If you love the show, consider becoming a first-year scribe for just $5 a month. You'll get early access to our ad-free episodes, a digital cocktail booklet for each book we cover, and an exclusive printable dust sleeve designed to mimic the look of vintage leather-bound books. Perfect for dressing up your romantasy shelf. This membership is a way to support the show and help us continue bringing this magical, messy, and swoony content to life. And if you've got a moment, we'd love if you rated and reviewed the podcast wherever you are listening.
Before we dive in, we need to give a spoiler warning. We will be discussing the entirety of the Crescent City series and the entire Sarah J. Maas universe. This is our deep dive in the preparation for ACOTAR 6, which we manifested and is releasing at the end of the year. Woo. We will also be including any bonus material and anything Sarah J. Maas has said in interviews. If we reference another series spoiler, we give a spoiler sound in the episode so that you can skip ahead.
A quick note from your saucy scribes before we step into the fire. Crescent City, House in Flame and Shadow doesn't just escalate, it detonates. The rebellion is no longer brewing, it's colliding across worlds. The stakes are cosmic, the truths are devastating, and the lines between ally and enemy blur in ways that will leave you reeling. This is a story forged in war, sacrifice, and reckoning. So expect graphic violence, torture, political corruption, trauma, explicit language, sexual content, and emotional devastation on a multiversal scale, balanced with razor-sharp humor, fierce loyalty, and a love that refuses to be extinguished, even in the dark. So consider this your neon-lit trigger warning. If any of these themes feel heavy, step away when you need to and protect your heart always. But if you're ready to burn it all down, pour something strong and follow us into the explosive, world-shattering chaos of Crescent City. The gates are splintering, the truth is unraveling, and we're stepping beyond Lunathian. Alex, take us in.
All right, so let's get into our summary of book 3, and it's a long one, so stay with us. So House of Flame and Shadow kicks off with a villain convention from hell in the Crystal Palace. The Asteri, led by the actual worst parasite, Rigulus, are losing it because Bryce Quinlan has vanished after literally falling into another universe at the end of House of Sky and Breath. Thousands of mystics are being used as magical Google searches to find her, and we learn Ophion got completely played because destroying the Ydra mech lab was apparently just a practice round, and Rigulus quietly built a bigger army right under their noses. Meanwhile, Hunt, Rune, and Baxian are being tortured in the dungeons by Pollux, and Lydia, aka Agent Daybright, has to pretend she hasn't fallen for Rune while he refuses to answer her telepathic texts because feelings are real messy. And then plot twist, the Prince of Hell, Adis, just shows up in Hunt's cell like, hi, let me drop some cryptic info for you one more time.
Meanwhile, Bryce is out here doing the most dramatic multiverse crossover in Valaris. She gets interrogated by Rhysand, Azriel, and Amarin, explores tunnels with Nesta and Azriel, and discovers a magical hologram from Selene, Thea's daughter. Plot twist, the Asteri once invaded Prythian. They were called the Daglin, got roasted using their own magical toys, aka the Dread Trove, and later accidentally ended up in Midgard, enslaving humans and Fae while feeding on magic via the drop. Bryce, being Bryce, absorbs Selene's leftover power, steals Truth Teller from Azriel, grabs her star sword, activates the horn in her back like it's a magical fanny pack, and dips out of Prythian. Translation: Bryce arrives in another universe, steals a bunch of power, learns thousands of years of lore, robs the Night Court, and leaves everyone else wondering if they need to hire a security consultant. Absolutely iconic.
Meanwhile, back in Midgard, chaos reigns. Therian panics, defects to the meat market, and pledges loyalty to the Viper Queen because it's Therian. Flynn, Ethan, and Declan show up to rescue him, bringing along Sigrid Fendir, the long-lost alpha wolf Ethan just had to rescue last book. Lydia pops in, the sneaky spy that she is, and explains that she's a double agent who needs Declan to hack the palace cameras so she can rescue Hunt, Rune, and Baxian. The Viper Queen, ever reasonable, makes them fight Sigrid for Therian's freedom, and Ethan accidentally kills her. Whoops, my bad. So Therian is free. The meat market explodes because the sprites think subtlety is boring, and Lydia rescues the men from the dungeons. Then Bryce does what any chaotic genius would do. Teleports into her dad's house, pretends it was an accident, extracts all the info she needs, traps him, and reunites with the gang on the depth charger. They sail to Avalon, deal with misogynistic Orvin. Ugh, that man. And pick up Flynn's sister Sathia by marrying her to Therian. Because Therian needed more life chaos, right? They explore the Cave of Princes, which basically becomes a supernatural group chat with the Prince of Hell. The princes reveal two major things. Bryce needs all of Queen Thea's hidden power to defeat the Asteri, and Hunt was literally engineered by them using the powers of Apollyon and Thanatos to help a future heir of Thea, which is a lot to unpack for one cave conversation, right? But Bryce finds and absorbs all of Thea's magic in the caves, kills Morbin, Rune kills the Autumn King, and suddenly Bryce is queen of both Avalon and the Valbaran Fae. Totally casual Tuesday.
Meanwhile, Ethan decides the obvious solution to oops, I accidentally killed the Lost Wolf heir is necromancy. Naturally, he heads to the House of Flame and Shadow, hunting someone to resurrect Sigrid, and instead runs into Jessica, who casually drops she was a priestess at Parthos Library and is cursed with immortality by Apollyon until she reveals the book's hidden powers and secrets. She points him toward Hypaxia, who recently lost her throne with the witches. Hypaxia tries to resurrect Sigrid and accidentally upgrades her into a Reaper. They gotta just stop messing with shit. Big oops.
She died. She died. Let her die.
Plan B, resurrect Sophie to fix Sigrid. But when Ethan and Hypaxia travel to Avalon, Bryce has already killed Morven. The castle collapsed and Sophie's body is gone. Hunt contributes lightning-filled crystals. Hypaxia whips up an antidote to the parasite in the water, draining all of their power, and tests it on Ethan, giving him a full ice magic glow-up. He returns to the wolf den to confess everything, only to be confronted by Sabine, who has somehow retrieved Reaper Sigrid and is trying to frame Ethan for murdering her. When it becomes painfully obvious Sigrid is just as awful as Sabine, the Prime of the Wolves steps in and unexpectedly names Ethan his heir. Sabine responds in the calmest way possible by murdering her own father, after which Sigrid eats his soul, as Reapers do. Ethan finally grows a pair and snaps, kills Sabine. Sigrid escapes into the night, and the remaining wolves kneel to Ethan as their new prime.
So, Bryce and Hunt head to Nenya to open the Northern Rift, dragging her mom and stepdad along like collateral for a bribe. Bryce casually borrows the mask from Nesta, sure, back in Prithian. Thanks, collateral, and promptly defeats a resurrected Harpy who's been powered up with stolen lightning from Hunt. Hunt, finally focusing, erases his cursed crown, and Isaiah is finally embracing his Prince of Hell origins. Meanwhile, Ethan has a deep, I'm the new Wolf King now moment and gets a bullet full of second light from the dead for Bryce's Godslayer rifle and basically turns the Underking into an ice sculpture with a little help from Hypaxia, who swings a sword for dramatic effect, becoming head of the House of Flame and Shadow in the process. Ethan then heads to the Eternal City to deliver antidotes and weapons to their friends.
Bryce, Hunt, Zaya, and Naomi orchestrate a massive media distraction, releasing incriminating footage of Bryce killing Micah from book 1. Remember that? The whole bathroom, locked him in a bathroom scene. And then waltzes into the Crystal Palace. Bryce resurrects the fallen angels using the mask, lets them possess mech suits, and combines the Star Sword and Truth Teller to finally take down an Asteri on the battlefield. Moon and Lydia face off against Pollux, unlock their new powers via the antidote, and save Lydia's sons.
The finale, Bryce and Hunt battle Rigulus and the remaining Asteri. They blow up the First Light cores with the Godslayer rifle, creating a black hole, which Bryce heroically throws into a portal to nowhere. Hunt dives into a mech suit, dons the mask, and rescues Bryce mid-black hole, and they barely escape. Bryce actually dies, but then Jessica trades her immortal curse to bring her back, giving a last cryptic life lesson about protecting Parthos' books.
With the Asteri gone, Bryce closes the Northern Rift, returns her parents and the mask/truth teller/star sword to their rightful owners, reforms the monarchy into something vaguely fair, and sets up shop with fire sprites guarding the Parthos books. Even the Pegasi return to Avalon because, of course they do. Jelly Jubilee would be so proud.
Folks, is how Bryce basically leveled up across 2 universes, rewrote the monarchy, and gave the Asteri a one-way ticket to nowhere. Total chaos, total power moves, total Bryce energy.
But of course, we can't just let that epic summary sit there like a pile of perfectly baked chaos. No. We need to pick apart the threads, untangle the lore spaghetti, and ask the really important questions.
Exactly. Who actually knew what about Thea's magic? How did Bryce survive that black hole with style points still intact? And what does all of this mean for the balance of magic, politics, and, let's be real, emotional trauma in Midgard? Welcome to our Threads of Theory segment, where nothing is too wild to consider and everything is up for debate. Let's untangle the threads.
Woo!
Right off the bat, Prithian.
Yep. Right off the bat, Prithian. I think we were all literally screaming.
100%.
And this was also the first book that I was like in real time waiting to come out. So CC2, I actually had that lag in like waiting for CC3 to come out. So I remember when I opened this book, I was like, I'm ready.
Oh my gosh, I believe it. I mean, I know we talked about it in a previous episode, but I was so happy that I was able to just like start book 3, and Alex was like,
Same.
I was not able to. Can you imagine? And I was like, no, I can't. I really can't.
To be
After
fair,
my spiral.
it was only like a few months I had to wait. I remember finishing book 2, seeing that book 3 hadn't come out yet. And I was like, oh, well, thank God it comes out in like March or April. Whew, and it was like August, September around that time. So I was like, I don't have to wait that long.
You know what? I was thinking that I came into this after the fact. I didn't.
Mm.
Alex brought me along for the ride, so I also had to wait for book 3 to come out.
You don't even remember. You
I
blocked it
remember
out.
Yeah. You blocked
so
out
much
the
has happened
trauma.
since then. I read Throne of Glass after this. That's why I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. It didn't feel like you really had to wait that long because you had like a
Yeah.
Band-Aid to cover it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, I
I
love
did
Throne
not
of
because I read
Glass.
Thrones of Glass second. So it was like.
And I read it first. We all have a different reading order.
Yeah. So I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I actually have to wait now. Everything is terrible.
Well, let's talk about Rhysand and Bryce.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think, so many things about this. So
Yeah.
he is interrogating her, and I think we're all picturing what we know from ACOTAR when he used to interrogate other people in this very specific room
Yeah.
with Azrael. It was all very hush-hush, closed behind doors.
Feyre, baby, you don't come down here.
No, Feyre, baby, you do not come down here.
Your sister can, though. Nesta can come down here.
Nesta can
but
handle
you
this. You
can't.
cannot. Look after Nyx. But I do think we still see a little bit of character development from Rhys at the end of ACOTAR here, because he chooses to not look in Bryce's memory and read her mind, which I think in ACOTAR he absolutely would have.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, he gave it as like an offer. He was like, may I? And she's like, absolutely fucking
She's
not.
like, no.
But I
No.
did find it interesting that he gave that as an offer. Then it's almost like he backpedaled and was like, you know what? Now that you're willing to let me see, I'm going to go get the orrery and you're going
Yeah.
to show me in that.
Well, he wants everyone to be able to see it.
Yeah, he's like, we're gonna project this. Let me get the projector.
But I also think like that's a way less intimate way actually of her sharing her memories, and then she can choose what she shows them. I actually think he was doing it to make her more comfortable.
Like a kindness.
Like a kindness. Yeah, because we all know he could have looked in her mind and then shared those memories with everyone else. But
Yeah.
I think this gave her that control and that choice of what to show them. And so he wasn't like digging around in her brain. And I do think it was important for Bryce's character development to see Fae who are respectful of choices and who aren't power hungry creeps, essentially, because that's like what she thinks all she knows. And we know that comes later on into the story as well.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about this whole part where she's in Prythian, because I think this is where, at least for me, I had a hard time with CC3. Is I loved all this, but it made me really not like Bryce. And I think it's because we all know Rhysand, Azrael, and Amren, and we as the reader trust them to do the right thing, to be good people, whereas obviously Bryce doesn't know them and she doesn't. And so when she's manipulating them and being an asshole to them, you're just kind of like, fuck you, Bryce.
Yeah,
And it makes her really unlikable.
it does.
Right.
When I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is a kind of out of character for you, the way that you're reacting to these situations. And maybe you could say that it's coming from like the fear of losing everything because so much was on the line for her that maybe she wasn't acting like herself, or maybe because she no longer had Hunt.
Well, she also like takes it back. It's like, she backs them into a corner and then regrets it and goes and rescues them.
Yes. Twice.
I think it was on purpose. And I think she was questioning herself and her motives. Like, I don't think it was a mistake.
I mean, obviously, she's concerned about Hunt. I mean, she doesn't know that they're right now being tortured. Like, she doesn't know that.
She assumes.
She knows that.
Right. Yeah, she knows that.
She's like, they're either being tortured or they're dead. I don't
dead.
know which one, but those are the
fair.
only two options.
Fair.
Those are definitely the only two options.
Maybe she just doesn't know how they're being tortured, but she's concerned about the people she loves. And it's like, look, I don't have time for this shit. I need to get home. I need to get what I need. Whatever reason why this sword brought me here, I need to get it and bounce because I need to get back to the people I love. I need to help save them. But I think it's also frustrating for us because like we love Nesta and Azrael. Like we know who they are. We know we've seen their struggles, and it's like, cut them some slack, man. Stop trying to kill my peeps,
Well, we also know that because we know them as readers, if she had just been honest and opened up to them, they would have helped her.
100%.
I think we all know where that would have gone. So when she's constantly being a dick to them, you're just like, ugh. And when you really look at it, I don't think Bryce is really acting that out of character. She always has this kind of like, I have all these plans up my sleeves. Like the way she talks to Autumn King, like literally once she bounces back into Prithian where she manipulates him.
Yeah.
This is all very much her
In character.
personality. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of people compare Aelin and Bryce, and this is where people were like, Aelin would never have done this. But they are different characters. And it
Yeah.
is like, Bryce is annoying here. But I think if it was against people we didn't know as readers, we wouldn't find it annoying. We would have been like, Bryce is so smart, she's outwitting them, you know?
Yeah.
Like she's staying 2 steps ahead like she did in book 1 with Micah and all these other people. But because we know them, it's such a, why won't you just cooperate with them?
like if we would have read Crescent City first, then we would have been like, go girl, get him. Yeah, trap him. But because
Exactly.
we read ACOTAR first, we were like, girl, calm down. Calm down. Take a breath.
Which I can't imagine reading Crescent City first. You would have no idea what is going on in this
You would
part.
be like, who is Rhysand?
You'd be surprised.
Who
You'd
is
be surprised.
Nesta?
In some of the reading groups I'm in, people are like, oh, I'm starting Crescent City. And everyone in the comments is like, no, stop.
Yes.
Read this first.
Absolutely. Which, like, this is a great point to bring up. A lot of people I've seen on like influencers on Book Talk and other podcasts have been like making these little videos being like, do you need to read Crescent City before ACOTAR 6? And all of them have been like, no, it'll be fine. You might be missing some like big rounded out information, but you won't be confused. And I think that is totally incorrect. I think
agree.
it's going to be the same situation here where if you hadn't read ACOTAR before this, you would be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Sarah J. Maas actually gave an interview in 2022 when CC3 was getting ready to be released, saying that she no longer sees her series as standalone series. She doesn't view them that way anymore. And when CC3 was coming out, she said that it was going to be a setup book for CC4 and for ACOTAR 6.
Yeah.
So I don't know why a lot of people are saying you don't need to read Crescent City, because that interview tells me you absolutely do need to read Crescent City.
Just think about it.
Just reading CC3,
the ending.
You know that you need.
I cannot believe that is people's advice and videos they're making right now. I think it is absolutely
wrong. I'm
incorrect.
sorry, but like they're wrong.
You do need to. Sarah J. Maas said it is a setup book for ACOTAR 6. So like, why would you think that you don't need to read it? I don't get it.
Like, follow what the author says, truly. Like,
okay, for example, in the end, Bryce gives back the sword, right?
Yeah.
She gives them the sword, gives it to Nesta.
Gwydion.
Yeah, that one. If you start picking up ACOTAR 6 without having read Crescent City, you're going to be like, where did this sword come from? Who is this? What is this?
So here's the thing. Even if she explains in that book, like, Bryce gave us Gwydion, like, during all this, as a reader, you're going to be like, who the fuck is Bryce? Because
who's Bryce?
There's no way she's going to take you out of the ACOTAR story to explain who Bryce is.
Yeah, okay. Here's the only way that I can see it making sense. But again, the only person who could know this is Sarah J. Maas. So if in the next ACOTAR, they're telling this whole scene from the perspective of Nesta and Azriel, which I don't think she's going to, because it'll be repetitive. You know, maybe she'll touch on it a little bit, but I don't think that's how it's going to go. That's the only way that it would make sense that you wouldn't need to have read this, but that's not going to happen. And these influencers wouldn't know that. Like,
yeah, so why are you giving people that advice? Yeah, exactly. So why are you people giving that advice? Like, you have this platform and a lot of people are listening to you. To me, it's very bad advice. I'm also really surprised that this is like the one question Alex didn't ask her on the Call Your Daddy podcast. And it seems like a very big question to ask now that we're
like, do you
need to read Crescent City before this book comes out? And I think Sarah J. Maas would have said yes, because in that interview from 2022, she said she does not view her series as standalone series anymore. So that tells me she's depending on the reader to read them all.
Yeah, but maybe also Alex is like us and it's fucking obvious. Like,
true. True.
She's like, what are you talking about? Why would I need to ask this as a question?
Because if you've read Sarah J. Maas, you know you need to read that. And I think a lot of these influencers right now too are trying not to like spoil Crescent City by being like, you don't really need to read it. It's fine. But what they really need to be doing is like Bitches, you actually go to Prithian in Crescent City, you need to read it.
Right.
Yeah.
For a big
I'm sorry
chunk
if
of the
that
book,
spoils it for
too.
you.
I mean, you
Right?
can also just big banner sign be like, don't ask questions unless you want the book to be ruined, but you have to read this first. That's
Right,
just
don't
really what it
skip.
comes down to. Like,
Yeah.
Well, and timeline-wise, obviously, we know this is after Nyx is born because we hear about Rhysand being an overprotected dad. And so this is the last time we see those characters. And so it's really weird to me to be like, you don't need to read these books when timeline-wise, this is the most recent information we have. And it's the reason why we chose to deep dive Crescent City in preparation for ACOTAR instead of deep diving ACOTAR. On top of the fact that like every podcast on planet Earth has deep dived ACOTAR, and it felt a little like, why do we need to do this?
And also we get to tie it into this. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been able to tie in all 3 series. So
Exactly. I think
Also,
you
it's fun.
only need to pick one. So
And you know, it's fun to watch Nesta put the mask on again.
I do love, because obviously Silver Flames is the last ACOTAR book we got. So when we see Nesta again described by somebody else, the first thing that Bryce sizes her up as is a warrior. And I love that because when you are reading ACOTAR, that's not really the first word I think that comes to mind when you think of Nesta.
No.
that's so true.
Yeah, here's someone else's perspective after her journey through Silver Flames, after she's become Valkyrie, who's like, oh, this is a pure warrior.
Right. You can
someone
see
to
her
mess with.
transformation. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is who she is now.
I do really
and I love it.
that.
Speaking of Nesta, though, I love that she caught on to the fact that Bryce kept opening the wound in her hand because she's like, why aren't you healing? Your knee healed, this healed. Why isn't your hand healing? So she was like, I'm clocking you. You're up to some shit. Like, what are you doing?
And then we get the Midgard worm, the reason why Bryce is opening her wounds. So, and even Bryce says, Midgard worm, did it come from Midgard? So where she got the word Midgard and Midgard from is from Old Norse, and it's a Middle word famously, and it's the same inspiration for Middle Earth from Lord of the Rings.
Her little tie-in.
So is it that the Midgard worm came from Midgard, or is Sarah J. Maas just a huge Lord of the Rings fan, which we know she is, and she just used the influence in both places? I think it's most likely that.
Yeah.
Because, the Midgard worm was ACOTAR book 1.
Maybe this is the one that she said she mistakenly repeated a name. Maybe it's Midgard and the Midgard worm.
Maybe. I mean, it also just might be a thing where she's like, this kind of works out. Yeah, maybe the Midgard worm could have been from Midgard and got here somehow. But I think when she was writing Crescent City, she was more like, ooh, I want this to be like my Middle Earth type of realm. I'm going to name it Midgard. And then she was like, oh, I already named that thing the Midgard worm, whatever. And then later on was just kind of like, oh, but they do kind of like how she said in the interview, like sometimes stuff just works out. And you didn't really plan for it. And I think that this is one of those things. I don't think we're going to get like a history of the Midgard worm coming from Midgard.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
I don't know. I think it's just like a fun little nod.
I want to see the history of the worm.
What a weird history to learn.
I want to know.
Joe's like, I need like a side book just for the Midgard
quest. Just for the where did you come from? Tell me your story.
So while we're in the caves, so interesting that when they get to Celine's caves, they both have the 8-pointed star.
Yeah.
The thing that I found most interesting about this is that Nesta all of a sudden registers. She's like, no, I've been here. This is where I was. And that's crazy.
Yeah, that's when she's like, oh, this is no place good.
Yeah.
I mean, I would also remember the prison if I went through her traumatic battles there. I remember the 8-pointed star.
But also the parallel that Bryce is now the horn, and the horn is returning from its original spot.
Yeah.
Or returning to its original spot.
Yes. There's so much of that in this story, and it's so good. They also find in the cave that all these constellations and Bryce is like, wait, these are the Midgard constellations.
Right.
Yes.
This looks familiar.
Yes.
And the Star of Romuel.
Yes. So I was going to say Orestes is one of those crossover names, but it's one of those things where you're reading, you're like, Orestes, I should know that. I should know that. And that's one of those things I had to like Google, be like, where is Orestes from? And it is one of the star names up top of Ramiel from the 3 stars. For others who like don't remember why we know that name. And someone also named a constellation in Midgard, Orestes. It just also shows how culture really works, right? Like when you migrate to a new place, you know,
You take a little bit.
Yeah.
We have New York because of York. Like you take a little bit of where you came from, and it's just a really beautiful way of showing that migration of the Fae to Midgard too.
Yeah, I totally agree. Which also makes me think that they were looking into the stars to be like, where is home?
Yeah, how do we get home?
How do we get home?
Or we miss home too.
Yeah.
But also, you know, there's like the oral stories, right? In
Right.
cultures. The oral stories were changed to protect,
Yeah.
you know? So it wasn't even like their exact history. They had to alter it a little to protect their home.
Yeah. Well, speaking of oral history, let's talk about Celine's hologram
Download, her
story.
download. Yeah, her complete download.
Which is like almost like a Star Wars Princess Leia situation.
It is.
Yup.
Just like,
That's
help
how
me,
I picture
Obi-Wan.
it.
You're my
hologram.
only hope. Yeah, 100%. And I think, so one of the biggest things right off the bat is not even like the information she gives, because it's just this huge download of like spitting info at you.
Yeah.
But Azrael says that she looks just like Rhysand's sister.
Yes.
So there is a theory going out there that
Yes.
Rhysand's sister is still alive and that Tamlin's father did not kill her. There are so many different offshoots to this theory, even that like Tamlin and his sister were mates and Tamlin saved her and sent her to Midgard. So the other thing, and this was one of the questions that Alex asked her on the podcast, was what is with the pool of starlight in the spring court? And that's where this theory kind of comes from, is that Tamlin whisked her away, put her through the pool of starlight in the spring court, and she ended up in Midgard. I don't really think that's what happened, but I love the
don't buy it.
theory. But she did avoid the question in the interview.
Is this Quicksilver? Like,
I know, but she did avoid the question in the interview.
No, Tim Tam, he would never.
No, Tim Tam would never. I also think for Rhysand's sister
too
to be alive
possessive.
all this time would be, I don't know how I feel about that. And stuck in Midgard. I think the fact that Selene looks so much like Rhysand's sister is just showing us once again that these people are related. Selene is Rhysand's ancestor. Like technically his great-great-great-great-grandmother. So of course, Rhysand's sister might look like her.
Yes.
Like I don't think, you know, Rhysand's sister somehow ended up in Midgard, and that's why Rune looks so much like Rhysand and like all this stuff.
Right.
It's like, well, Rune is also a descendant of Helena, and Helena and Selene were sisters. So obviously then Rune and Rhysand would look alike. I don't
Their
think you have
genes
to
are
go,
the same.
Yeah. I don't think you have to go through into so much theories.
You don't.
Of why they
No one needs to
look
be
alike.
pushed in a well. You know what I'm saying?
Do I think that pool of starlight means something? Yes. Do I
Yes.
think it's a portal to Midgard? No. Because it's not a misty thin place. It's a pool of starlight. I think it means something totally different that we just don't know about.
If we're going based off of their theory that Tamlin was her mate, then why would he fight so hard for Feyre? He would be fighting hard to get back to his mate, don't you think?
True. So true. Well, there's also another theory that's slightly different, that Azrael and Rhysand's sister were mates.
I saw that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why he looks so devastated whenever Rhysand's sister comes up. I think it's more that he viewed her also as a little sister, which is why he looks so devastated when she comes up.
Yeah.
That's true.
I
because
agree with that.
Sam's mom took him in
Yeah.
and basically kind of raised him alongside Rhysand.
Yeah. So I also
could totally
think
see that being sibling-like.
if they lived together that long or around each other that long, wouldn't they have both
got it
known they
in or
were
something?
mates? Yeah, like wouldn't they have like been together then?
You know?
Like, these Fae are, hundreds of years old. I feel like they would have, maybe at least kissed at some point.
Yeah.
At some point.
I think this is also a good time to address. I saw another theory saying that Rhys is actually like the next ancestral line because he's keyed into the gates.
He technically is, yes.
Which he is keyed into the gates. And yes,
Yes.
he is in the family line, but he is not the next descendant from this. So,
Mm-mm.
because he's not 15,000 years old, you guys. Like, we don't
No,
know how old he is, but I know he's not that old. Like,
Maybe
no.
500. That
Yeah,
seems
he's
to
like
be the lucky
500.
number.
yeah.
I remember, I think from Akatar, he's around like 500. Also, he's already the High Lord of the Night Court. So it is interesting, though. We find out Theon, the High King, was Bryce's ancestor, but that also means that he is Rhys's ancestor. So that means Rhys and Bryce are very like distantly / closely related.
Cousins.
Probably on the male side.
Yes, because Helena and Selene, they're both descended from them, and they have the same father, who is Theon. So I do think this is maybe some interesting foreshadowing, though, of Rhys is in the line to become High King of Prythian. Theon was the only High King of Prythian ever.
Well,
So I
and
do
Rhys
think
knows that, though. And he's like, I don't
that
want
could
it.
be. I don't think he knows that he's descended from Theon. He does not know that. That never comes up in Akatar.
It does, though, because Cassian is like, you are the next in line for this.
They just think he could power-wise take over the same way that Theon did. He does not know because they don't know anything about Thea, Selene,
That's
or Helena.
right, because
They
it's
know
all gotten
nothing
lost.
about any of
And
that.
he's like, I
because
don't know why I'm keyed into these gates.
Yes. So, and when Selene
Right.
came back, she hid all that history. She never said, my father is Theon.
Amren's the
So
only
he
one
has
who
no
kinda
idea.
knows.
And I don't think Amron really knows. Amron kind of like suspects.
She's the closest one to the stories.
Yes,
Yeah.
but she was already in the prison at that point, and she only heard whispers. So,
Right, but she mentions, like, saying, I know I've heard a little bit about this, but she's the only one who would have heard something.
yes, but no, Rhys does not know he is descended from Theon. So I think it's very interesting foreshadowing. And once again, you have to read CC3
Yes.
because I do
Yeah.
think that's going to be a storyline in the future Aktar books of whether Rhys claims that power or not.
Yeah. Interesting. I think my brain just was like, these are connected.
Yeah,
Like, it's
but no,
obvious,
Rhys
right?
doesn't
It's
know.
ob-
We know. We know.
We
Rhys
know.
does not know.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. These bloodlines, man.
I
These
know. It gets so
Starborns,
complicated.
These Theons, these. Where is Amron from?
And so here's another wild theory from this, okay? When they kill Theon, because we find out that Thea killed her husband, by the way, which she also said that they loved each other. So this is like,
Yeah, it
what is
was
wrong with
weird.
this woman
Yeah.
is weird. They say that Truth Teller was his friend's dagger from the war. And we later find out through this like bomb of information that Analius was that friend, and he's the one who held the pass famously. It's who's the blood right is like in honor of. Do we think Analius could be Azriel's ancestor?
See, that's kind of more so where I'm thinking because he's able to carry the sword.
So this is, but that to me, Analius was not Starborn. Analius was an Illyrian. And also, Selene was the one who had the dagger when she came back to Prythian. Now, my thought is, did she give it back to Analius's bloodline, and that's how Azriel got it, to hide it in plain sight, essentially? Or are Azriel and Rhys related? And they don't know it. Are they both descended from Selene? And like somehow Selene passed down the dagger in one area of the family that was not related to Rhys. Because he can bear the Star Sword and Truth Teller, telling me he has to have some Starborn magic in his bloodline.
And also, this makes me think about Azriel's dad. Why was he trying so hard to make
Break
him weaker?
Oh, yeah, to like starve his shadows and all of that. Maybe he was like afraid of his own son being Starborn.
Yeah.
Being too powerful.
Because we do find out later that Bryce's Starborn magic has shadow in it. Once she gets that full power and she looks at it, so it's like Azriel's manifestation of the power is just the shadows of the starlight.
Yeah.
Because his shadows are weirder than everyone else's. It's like he just like got that part of it.
So and she got the shadows when she absorbed the other portion of Thea's power, right?
Yes.
That's when it happened. And so when Thea split herself off between her daughters, one went one way, one went the other way. Thea kept a portion. One daughter was just the starlight, which is maybe where Bryce got her starlight from, over in
Helena, yeah.
Midgard. And then the shadow portion may be the one that Selene took with her back to Prythian, and that is where Azriel gets his. And so then when Bryce gains that other portion of her power back, she also has shadows now. So I would not be surprised if Azriel is actually related to Bryce too. Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun.
yeah. Bryce and
I think
Reese.
they may be
Yeah.
related. I mean, we all know that Azrael's dad is a piece of shit. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Ugh.
established. But what we don't know is that connection between him and Reese. Like, is there actually a connection?
We also don't know who his mother is.
Yeah.
I need his story.
I bet the
Yeah.
Starborn magic comes from his mysterious mother we know nothing about. That's what
They
I'm thinking
even
too.
call each other brothers and stuff. So it's like
I
fated
know.
by the stars. They're fated mates.
Hey, wait. Crazy theory. Crazy theory. Because, okay, in the bonus content, where we get Azrael's POV after Silver Flames, he makes a
Yeah.
comment about how he doesn't think it's fair that his two brothers get these two sisters, yet Elaine is not his mate. He's like, there's 3 of us and 3 sisters. Why is Elaine not my mate?
Oh, that's fair.
But what if part of the storyline of the next ACOTAR series is that we talked earlier in our episode from the Call Her Dottie podcast, we think the storyline is going to be about like choosing your own love in spite of there being a mate, and Azrael's obviously part of that storyline. What if part of his character arc and coming into being himself is he actually finds out he is an actual brother to Reese and that they have like this special bond that makes the whole mate thing not matter? I love that.
I love that too. It's fated mate bros.
It's fated mate bros.
Yeah.
Exactly. They
I
were
love
always
it.
meant to be brothers because they're actually related. I love it so much. And then Azrael feels special and included, even though Elaine is not his mate.
Yeah.
Endgame,
I also
I don't
think
care.
it's very intentional that it's not Reese going through this journey with Nesta and Bryce. It's Azrael.
Mm-hmm.
So I think him going on this journey is showing us a more intimate side of him that we don't necessarily get in the ACOTAR books, which furthermore
Mhm.
leans into the fact that you need to read these stories before ACOTAR 6.
Because it's going to be about him. I know it.
Well, it's definitely going to be about him. We find out about the Fae from the Thrones of Glass universe from this Celine download. And she says that they seem to know Rigelus a long time and followed him into Midgard, and they've always been his most adamant supporters. So that means let's look at Thrones of Glass and who he could have been in Thrones of Glass. I don't think we necessarily saw him as a character in Thrones of Glass. There's two theories here, that he was a god from the Thrones of Glass world. When I looked at the list of gods from the Thrones of Glass world, none of them made sense for him.
Right.
I'm going to be totally honest. And also, their gods weren't this like power hungry, feeding off of them type of entity. You know, like some of them actually loved the Fae in that world, like Mala. So it just doesn't seem to fit right to me. The other theory I think we all forget is that he can shift into animals, just like the Fae there can do. He shifts into a cat and sits on Ethan's lap.
That's right.
So I have a feeling he wormed his way into their culture by acting like a shifter Fae, and then got a bunch of them to follow him and then led them out of Aurelia into Midgard. And I don't know that we know who he is, though, or saw him.
I have a secondary pile on to yours, actually.
Okay.
So going into exactly the same line of consciousness that you were to like who is the god, I think it's actually Eosphorus, because she is the morning star and she's the dawn bringer.
Yeah, but she
which
doesn't
I think
come off as
pairs
like
a little
evil,
bit better.
though.
She is evil.
I don't know. The gods in Thrones of Glass just don't feel like Asteri to me. Like none of them do.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps. Maybe we're just reaching for straws on that one.
I think it's more likely that he was like on the ground floor, like gathering a following as a shifter, like pretending to be one of them, and was like
recruiting an army.
Yeah. So like we know that the stags who like came to the rescue, you know, at the end of Thrones of Glass, they were all missing for a really long time. I wonder if a lot of them left with him to go to Midgard.
Which, I mean, leads into the question, though, why are there only 6?
On Midgard?
Yeah.
Because some died.
Some died. Some were in Prithian and then were killed in Prithian. I think there probably are Asteri in other worlds, too, that we don't know about. Because we even hear from Adis, you know, at the end of the book, he said, well, my brothers are fighting in other conflicts in other worlds, which tells me that Asteri are in other worlds, too.
Right. And one of his brothers killed.
Yeah, only Adis, Thanatos, and Apollyon come to their aid, and they literally say our other brothers aren't coming for this reason.
Right.
Yeah.
And Apollyon's killed an Asteri before.
Yep.
Yes. The Void.
The Void. Yep. The main question, too, is why does Reese not know any of this after Celine's download? She says she keys her son into the locks and that it's going to be passed down from generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
Why in the world does Reese not know any of this?
Right. My question is, who stopped telling?
Exactly.
Who made
and
the decision
why?
to stop telling?
Who and why?
Because it was obviously an active decision, not
Yes.
Yeah.
not like, oh, we forgot.
No, definitely. It's a hard thing to forget, but we know, Prithian, there is power grabs and politics
Yeah.
going on. I'm assuming at some point, whoever knew this information also knew about the power that she left in the prison and thought it was too dicey, maybe, because they live forever. Like maybe they saw their
Mhm.
son not turning into a good person, was like, oh, my child's going to go claim that power and become like a terror in Prithian. I can't tell them that power exists.
But it's like you have to be
Exactly.
keyed in.
But you
and
have to be
that's
keyed
it.
in, and that's it.
It's
Because they
it's a
also know
prison.
it's because it's a prison. You're in charge of the prison. But I'm not going to tell you the rest of it because you don't deserve to know because I can't trust you. I mean, I could see something along
could
the
see
way
that.
happening there because, you know, we do know the Night Court does have a history of some not great people being involved, like in the
Yeah.
Hewn City. Like, not all of it
Mhm.
is Valaris, like sunshine and rainbows. So
Yeah.
maybe it was like someone who more started on the Hewn City vibes and was like, we're not going to let him know about this.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I
Totally.
can think of.
Yeah.
And then by the time it gets to Reese, the information's gone.
I mean, because also remember, like, Moore is Reese's cousin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And her family,
That's true.
all
Shitty.
of her family are like a piece
Shitty.
of shit. So, like, could you imagine
Yep.
giving a man like her father that kind of power?
Absolutely not. That knowledge.
No.
The knowledge to get that power.
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
exactly. So I could see that maybe something like that happened down the line where it's like, no, we can't. I'd rather it just die.
I can't trust you
Agree.
with this.
Exactly.
Because also after 10,000 years, if no one's come back to claim it, you're probably also thinking like, well, does this matter anymore?
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about the Asteri. They haven't come here. Who are they?
The Daglin.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, the Daglin.
They could become more like a myth than like something that actually was
Exactly.
scary to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
it's almost as if it's more of like a lore
Legend.
and not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
actual
yeah.
Legend.
like
It's legend,
Yeah.
yes. So then Bryce, and I think we can all agree she was kind of an idiot here. After the Celine download, she figures out that below them is this Asteri Vespris.
Yep.
And what was she thinking waking this motherfucker up? Dude, like when Nesta and Azrael get mad at her, I'm like, yeah, you know better than anyone the power of these people. Like, you're an idiot. This is one of those frustrating Bryce plot points that I'm just like, yeah, no, you suck.
I feel like she could be very impulsive sometimes, and that was an impulsive move where it's like the kid that touches everything. You're like, don't touch that. Like, don't touch the stove. You're gonna get burned. This, like, that was Bryce in that moment.
It's so true. And I do think she gets almost like overly confident in her abilities after the 3 books. It's like she's that super special starborn princess. And it's like, okay, still an Asteri, still fucking terrifying. And you also still don't know how to kill them yet. So like maybe don't wake her up.
Literally.
Also, you're a fetus. Like, everyone else here has been alive for 1 billion years, not you.
Also, and I do think, you know, if it had been in Midgard, would she have done that? I think she kind of takes, because it's in Prithian and she doesn't know or care about that world, a little more like, I don't care.
Flippantly.
Yeah, she takes it flippantly. And I totally agree with Nessa and Azrael when they're like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah. Also,
like, what do you think
what
you're
are you
doing?
unleashing here? Yeah.
Yeah. Also, maybe like talk to us.
Right. They're like, you just told us that these same alien parasite things are like invading your planet and killing people and taking their power. And you're going to unleash that in our home?
And you're just going to wake it up? Like,
yeah. Okay.
Or
hey,
if you
hey,
do want this plan to wake her up to get more information, maybe let's have a game plan and a chat. Like, we are 2 warriors. Let's have our knives pointed at her. Like, maybe like don't just jump into shit. And I think even
100%.
Hunt gets frustrated with Bryce later on in the book too, in the caves, and she just like jumps into the water and she just expects everyone to follow. I think you're right. She can be very impulsive and just like everyone's gonna do what I'm doing. And it's like, no, dude, like be a team player. She is very childish.
It is childish, but also Hunt has lived through some horrific things, and he's like, your actions are hurting everyone else. Consequences happen when you react this way, and people end up dying over it. People end up tortured over it, and I can't do this again. Like, you want me to give you 1,000% of my loyalty? Fine, I love you. You're my mate. I love you. But you're asking a lot of me, and you're putting a bunch of people in danger. I think that was his real frustration. Like, after just coming back from watching Baxian chew off her brother's fucking hand, and then she's just like, follow me, guys, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. It's like, where's the love? Where's the respect? Where's the loyalty? Where's the companionship? Where's the trust?
Yeah,
and
I think you hit the nail on the head there. And I think the biggest thing towards that is also the fact that you said the way that she reacts, not just the way that she acts. Because she reacts very impulsively.
Yes. And I also think this is where that whole debate comes in between her and Aelin. Aelin also has all these plans that are 3 steps ahead and whatever, but she actually talks them out with Rowan. You just don't see it on the page. And they have a much more open, trusting relationship that's like actually built on trust, whereas she's just very flippantly, yes, like, just follow me. Like, it'll all work out, even though I actually don't have really thought it through.
Yeah. Just follow my hot pink sneakers.
Like, opening freaking casket, just...
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing, Bryce?
Being a dum-dum. And while all this is happening, our bros, Rune and Baxian and Hunt, are being tortured in the dungeons. Yeah. And so we find out they're all cut off from their source of magic, but Rune still has his mind-speaking abilities, which I find very interesting. Does anyone have any theories why?
The only thing I can think is Starborn. That's the only thing. Yeah. Like, it's a different kind of ancient magic that is
it's not
tied to a different world. It's not tied to Midgard. That's the only thing I can think of.
I'm curious, like, would Rhys also still have his mind-speaking abilities if he was, like, cuffed in these?
Probably.
Let's see. Right? Cuff him.
She's like sexual innuendo included.
Talk to me, Rhys.
Find me, baby.
Okay, so also while they're in the dungeons, they discover that Cormac is dead. And I know,
he's dead, you guys.
Baby. So yes, Rune thinks, what could they have done to Cormac to render him irrevocably dead? And this is where the theory comes in. A lot of people think that Cormac is not dead. A lot of people. And it's funny to us because I was just having an argument on Instagram with someone like last week about it. And I just had to be like, ooh, girl, we got to let this go.
He's dead.
I think he is dead. I think story-wise, it is much more beautiful that he ends up with Sophie in the afterlife in terms of now they're together. I think he absolutely knew that he was going to die. He went into that battle knowing he was going to die. The conversation he had with Rune beforehand was very like, I'm not expecting to come out of this. Yeah.
Yeah. Facts.
Maybe some people just can't deal with that.
The theory just comes from, it's a classic fantasy thing of like no body, no death. And we never saw Cormac's body.
He exploded.
Because it was exploded.
Like, you know what? May his memory be a blessing, okay?
There's a fun theory that he is slightly descended from the witches and he performed the yielding.
You know what?
Yeah. Which I could see because we do know that they somehow exist in this world. The Thrones of Glass people are in this world. Because also, like, why did Cormac have fire in the first place?
He's part Starborn?
I don't know. The other thing the theory comes from is if he had fire magic like Aelin, like Lydia, his fire wouldn't hurt him. So, like, why would it have caused him to die?
Because he wanted to die, you guys.
No, but that's why I think it could be more like a yielding situation.
Yeah. Wait a second. But he didn't just explode himself. He exploded by explosives.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the explosives are what killed him, not necessarily his fire. His fire was a spark.
Unless he yielded. Unless he yielded.
But
what if he didn't yield? What if he wasn't thinking about that? He was just like, I gotta go. Hunt, guys, it's been real.
I think you could be right. Like, it definitely, he just lit the explosives near him on fire.
Yeah. Because he told Therian to run.
Yes, he did tell Therian to run. Yes.
Which is also so explicit. I'm not leaving. You go.
Yes.
Yeah. He didn't say, wait for me.
Therion's whole thought process behind it is like, I'm never seeing my friend again. And
100%.
Rigelus even confirms. He's like, oh, your little stunt. Well, all you lost was you. Like,
yeah. I also think, CC3 is a really long book for him to still be alive and we don't see him.
Yeah, completely agree.
Really long.
Completely
And
agree.
also, this is his revolution he was mainly a part of. If he was still alive, he'd be back in action. He'd be at that battle with the Asteri. There is just no way he's chilling somewhere.
He's gluing himself back together right now, guys. Okay.
He would have been on the depth charger.
No way. He's just chilling somewhere. I get the whole no body thing, but in this circumstance, from all of the other literary standpoints of it being a nicer tie for him to end up with Sophie, where was he all of book 3? It just doesn't make sense.
It would be a lot of backtracking to figure out that story. And I don't think it moves the story far enough forward for it to actually be a storyline that continues.
Well, and the thing is, what would Cormac's
Agreed.
purpose even be in CC4? He doesn't end up with Bryce. The whole hierarchies of all the Fae get dissolved. So, one of the theories, the girl who I was arguing with about this on the internet, which I try not to do with people, but, sometimes you just get sucked in. But she was he was this wealth of starborn magic. He's going to have to be there to help Bryce and Nesta to put together the Dust Court in Prythian. And I was like, well, how is he getting to Prythian? This doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. She also said that he was going to be a king. And I was like, oh, really interesting. Because they haven't had a king but once.
Well, she also, she said his prophecy said that he would be king, and I was like, no, actually his prophecy said that him and Bryce's relationship would unite their people, and he just always took it as marriage, but it ended up not being that. And yes, their relationship did end up uniting their people. So plotline done. Plotline done.
Their
yes, and then she backpedaled.
I love the idea that
and she was like,
Sarah
he's not
was
king.
This is good. This is a closed up end. Which is also why I think she just laughed at the no body, no death Cormac question in the interview, because she's just like, what more could I have done to be like, you guys, he's dead.
Yeah. But I also think she laughed because I think, she has to have some of that Rebecca Yarros in her too. If at the end of the day, she just wants to fuck with people. She's probably oh, I know he's dead, but I'm going to laugh because you guys are going to think that he's not dead.
Liam. We had to get the seal on Liam being actually dead. Same thing.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If he's not dead, there better be a really good storyline explaining why he's not.
Yeah.
And I just don't see it being the future of the CC4 books. And I don't think he's going to be in ACOTAR 6. I'm sorry to the girl I was arguing with on the internet. How is he getting to Prythian? Just no. But yeah, I think we all agree, at least, he's not alive. But while Rune and everyone's in the dungeons, we also learn that the Asteri are having 1,000 mystics searching for Bryce.
Yep.
Do we think that we've seen mystics in the other worlds, or will we in the future?
I don't know, because I have questions about how the mystics appear.
Agree.
At all. Because
the
it
mystics
doesn't really explain it.
are very much a question mark to me, because they don't seem familiar from anything else in any of the worlds we visited, which makes me think...
Cereals?
No, I don't think so.
These are humans.
Because those are an own entity.
That's true. That's true.
Or human-bodied people. A cereal is like a skeleton.
That I find interesting is the fact that, is it Thanatos that tortures the mystic?
Yeah, because he's a soul eater.
Because so it's obviously he can see it in some capacity, but what capacity?
Maybe they came from hell in some way and mated with Fae, and these offspring got this weird ability. I don't.
And also,
I don't
what
really
is the
get where the
magic
mystics
that
come from.
allows them to transverse universes? Because Rigelus says, so is it an Asterian power that they utilize for the mystics? Because otherwise, how can it transverse universes?
Or maybe the Asteri bred them in some way, because they invented the horn, so they do have this sense of how like world jumping works. Maybe they like bred this ability into some fae. But
I mean, they did mess with eugenics, so possibly.
yes. So yeah, I'm not sure how the mystics come to be. I hope that's a question that's answered in CC4 and on, because I'm very curious about them.
Maybe the mystics are something that is just singular to that planet. Like some planets have different species, and
Well,
maybe that one is just
I would say
from there.
yes, but we know from the history of Midgard, it was just humans and really the mare on Midgard. It was
Right.
a blank slate planet.
No shifters. No shifters.
There was no shifters. There was no fae. No nothing. It was a very blank slate planet. To the Asteri.
To the Asteri might be the caveat there, because I noticed it 3 separate times to where there were 3 separate perspectives on who was on Midgard when the Asteri arrived. So I don't think that everyone was aware of everyone.
Definitely not.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the caveat is that the Asteri were aware of.
Yeah.
But yeah, because the mystics are definitely enslaved by the Asteri. I think the Asteri are definitely involved in however they got this power.
Yeah.
But I would see it maybe being bred into the fae the way that they like got the angels and all of these other like
And
things.
also now that the core is blown up, did that kill all of the mystics?
Oh, yikes. Didn't think about that.
Because that's where they're being powered from.
That's where they were like housed or whatever, sleeping. Oh, that's sad. That's really sad. Yikes.
You know.
So on that note.
Yeah, so on that note, let's move on to who I call the idiot triplets, Ethan and Flynn and Declan. The idiot triplets and Sigrid, they go and try and release Therion from the Viper Queen. And while they're there, they run into the Hind. She confesses that she's Daybright. Ethan fights Sigrid and he kills her. I just want to take, this is, I feel like, the moment to even talk about the Sigrid storyline, okay? He kills her.
Sigrid needed to die. As fuck.
She's, first of all, a very annoying character. He kills her, he brings her back as a Reaper, and then she becomes a complete, like, dick asshole who, like, sides with Sabine, even though Sabine killed her father, which caused her to be sold into the Mystics in the first place. Like, I don't totally understand the point of this storyline at all,
it's all to move Ethan forward.
Yes. Other than to just keep moving Ethan forward and keep trying to push him into a role he didn't want to take. But could we have done it in a less annoying way?
But then it wouldn't have been, I guess, as dynamic. I don't know. But it was very frustrating. I was tired of Sigrid, you know, and that whole storyline, her just constantly being annoying. Like, anytime they tried to help her, she was rude. She was annoying. Those little fairy sprite things were just like, oh, girl. And I was like, take her out of here. Leave her with the Viper Queen at this point, please. Please do.
And she's left still a Reaper and alive at the end of this book. So I'm like, oh God, are you coming back? Like, I don't want to see you again.
I think she
didn't even think about that.
No,
that's so annoying.
Like, I really hope she just goes and disappears into the ether and we never see her again, because I hate her.
Okay, but also
no redeeming qualities. No redeeming qualities.
Isn't Hypaxia now in charge of the Reapers? So maybe she can just get rid of all the Reapers, because she already made a point to where she was like, don't you feel bad for them, because they're just like existing on a plane wanting for their life. So
she switched allegiance.
What do you mean?
She switched to the
well, that's true.
Switched houses. Remember,
she did.
Said it.
Yeah. So she's not under Hypaxia's control.
No, she's not.
She's under Ethan's control. That means she's under Ethan's control.
No, but she's a Reaper. First and foremost, she's a Reaper.
She is a Reaper, but now Hypaxia can't control her because she did. She switched house allegiances to Sabine before Sabine died.
Can a Reaper do that?
Apparently.
That doesn't.
If a witch can become the head of House and Shadow, I don't see why not, because she's not even supposed to be in that house in the first place.
We're going to make a Reaper the freaking high. What's it called?
Prime, yeah.
Wolf Prime. Oh, there are no rules. Unfortunately, we may be seeing more of Sigrid.
I really hope not. But after he kills her, he runs to Jessica, and we finally get Jessica's history that she wasn't really a witch, but she's cursed by Apollyon. And she was a priestess of Parthos. I love Jessica, and I love her whole story.
Love her.
And her magic comes from him accidentally transferring some of his magic to her when he cursed her.
Yep.
So Jessica is completely unique, which is why I think she fits in probably pretty well with the House of Flame and Shadow, even though she calls herself a witch, but she's not really. She just had no explanation for what she was. So she was like, this is the label people will be able to digest.
Yeah, and she couldn't tell them who she was because she was protecting the books.
Exactly.
And she enjoyed being part of the coven for a while until, inevitably when power becomes too much.
Yep.
So she moved on.
We pretty much understand why the Book of Breathings and The Walking Dead would be in the Library of Parthos now. We know the worlds are very interconnected. The Book of Breathings was actually written by the Asteri, so that really makes sense why there would be a copy of that there. The Walking Dead, so this is kind of comes into the argument of some people can't decide if Midgard takes place after Thrones of Glass or if it's on the same timeline as Thrones of Glass. So The Walking Dead, I guess the question is how many copies are there of this book? Because if there is only the one copy, it would have to be after Thrones of Glass. Otherwise, that copy of the book wouldn't exist in our Thrones of Glass universe. I don't know how special that book is to know if there's only one or not. Seemed pretty special when it was in Thrones of Glass, but
yeah.
And then I love that the reason Apollyon curses her is because he thinks the books are magical and he doesn't believe her that all they hold is knowledge. And I think it has to be just Sarah J. Maas poking at
men.
Men and at, knowledge being power. And it's just the knowledge. It doesn't actually have to have any type of magic. But I definitely think it is a little bit of poke from her and I love it.
This whole series is so tongue-in-cheek jokes and I fucking love it.
Yes.
I love it. And yeah, I do. I think that is what it is, to where it's Apollyon is this powerful man who's your books have power, don't they? And she's yeah, if you read them.
Yeah. Kind of romantasy as a genre has power if you actually take the chance to read them instead of just brushing them off as fairy smut. Oh, and it might actually teach you something. Weird. The Hun rescues Hunt, Rune, and Baxian, and then she dies, and they revive her with Hunt's lightning. Yay. And then, boom, we find out she has 2 sons. So let's discuss this, because that's the turning point when Rune finally is I guess I'll try and talk to her, and she very rightfully gets pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually kind of really like that this is the way she wrote that storyline, because Lydia is very much oh, now that I fit comfortably into this box of being a mother, and there had to be this ulterior motive for me to be the spy and doing all these terrible things to get close to Asteri, now you can stomach talking to me.
I can fit in the box now.
I can fit in the box now for you.
You can stomach me.
Yes. And I love that this is actually the plot line we take. It's one of those things where it's the conflict is good. You're it's not annoying. It's good. It's juicy. I mean, obviously we love that they end up together. But I think we all think of Rune as being this very progressive, yes, guy.
Right.
And I think there are a lot of men in our lives who consider themselves that. But they've been trained for so long in roles of sexism and, how women should act.
Patriarchy.
That even these men who think that they are progressive, they still fall into these traps. And then writes Yeats out of Prithian. and she purposely lands with the Autumn King. And I think it maybe it's leftover annoyance from the way she treated Azriel and Nesta, but I kind of was annoyed with the way she even treated the Autumn King. And he's an asshole who deserves it, and I still found her annoying during these scenes. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, on the one hand, I liked that she was kind of coming in and being no. If we're balancing questions, then I already answered one of yours and now you get to answer one of mine. But then that childish thing comes into play to where she's I don't want to play this game anymore. I'm not answering anything else. And
I'm done.
I agree with you. I think if she's going on this trajectory that she wants to go on, she needs to be more mature about it. And she wasn't.
Yeah.
She was
it felt
boo-hoo for me.
Watching a teenager argue with their parents instead of a
100%.
badass female going up against the patriarchy.
It was giving daddy issues, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And It was one of those things where you're reading it, you're like, I hate the Autumn King, but why do I feel bad for him right now? Because she's being such a dipshit. Like, don't make me feel bad for him. Like, he's a dipshit.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting little part of the book.
Also, again, one of those mirror things that happened. She pushed Micah into the bathroom and locked it. She pushed her daddy into a closet and locked it.
Loved it.
I love that that's her solution for so many things. She's
I'm just
like,
going to lock you in a tiny room.
I just
not
wish he
gonna
would have
kill
stayed
you.
there longer. I'm just annoyed that he got out too early. I'm like,
No, he got
mean,
out when he needed to.
He got it out when he needed to. He got the end he deserved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, she yeets then to the depth charger. We're finally all on the same side of the story, except for Ethan. And they all head to Avalon. Even Therion, because he's dumb. And of course, Therion has to get dumber, because when they get there, they gain another party member, Sophia Flynn. And he's just like, yeah, I'll marry her. I will say, the setup of this, you can feel the redemption arc for Therion coming with
yes.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing about his character right now that I'm excited about for CC4 is I actually can't.
Me too.
It has to be a forced proximity, like arranged marriage trope type of plotline between them. Like I do not accept any other. I do not accept any other answer than like them actually falling in love. So
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see it.
The whole River Queen thing, well, then we'll just get a divorce and then I'll be with you. And she's like, the fuck you will?
Yeah.
Yeah, that pissed me off when he said that. I was like, have you learned absolutely nothing?
Nothing.
You've learned nothing,
Correct.
you impulsive shit. Like, shut your mouth and let the women talk.
100%.
And also, I love that she's setting Sathya up to be so strong.
Yes.
Like, we understand that she holds power, and not in like a I'm magical way, but she's like, don't fuck with me. I've had enough people fucking with me, and I think that's what Therion needs. And
she's
I think
political.
Yes.
And she gets the politics.
And she does it flawlessly.
And I love the tie-in that at first when you meet her too, that Flynn is like, oh, my dipshit little sister, which is it's a lot of the way that like people view Bryce. And I think that's why Bryce and Sathya immediately get along is she's like, oh, your brother underestimates you.
Yep.
And I kind of love it. I can't wait to get more of her.
She's like, Bryce is my queen. And I was like, you go, girl.
And I do love her starting to already question Bryce in these next chapters where she's like, what are you going to do with the Fae? You seem to really hate us. So, like, what's your game plan? Because we don't all suck. Like,
yeah.
And I really love that even Hunt is, like, disappointed in her answers. It's like, you've been giving this, with great power becomes great responsibility. Like, if you want to change the world, it has to be on you to change it. You can't just destroy the system and then just be like, free for all.
Done. Yeah.
Like if you want it to change, you have to change it yourself. So I hope we see more of Bryce and Sathya together in CC4, which I think we would.
Right. But is Sathya going to return with Colin? That's the question.
I know. I think
That
that's
is
just
the
going to, I
question.
think that's going to be like the like hitch in the Therion Sathya love story of that's their thing of like figuring out, you know?
Yeah, obligation to Colin because she feels responsibility for where he landed with the Viper Queen. Like she feels some level of responsibility for him. So I mean that's why she had to go back. Not also because it was her friend, but I think she felt responsible.
More
but,
than
like,
friend.
I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was her dad that basically
Mm-hmm.
made him be where he is.
I feel like it was like her teen-year crush, you know,
Right.
young love, and I also hope that we get to see her dad get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love that. I'd love that. I need some redemption.
During their cave exploration, they find out Helena built it all, and she built her telephone to Hell, and they talk to Adis and Apollyon and Thanatos, and they do confirm that Hell is where our beloved dead come to rest. So to me, it doesn't sound like the Valg world. I know we debated a lot about if those two worlds could be the same, but the Valg don't seem to come from a world of the dead.
I agree.
Yeah, when I think of Hell, it actually reminds me of like Dante's Inferno. Like the levels and everything is like very mirrored.
Yeah.
And he even says here that that's where the beloved dead come to rest. So But does that also mean that all these like people in the bone quarter, are they supposed to be in hell and they're like stuck in this like horrible like in between? Is kind of what it sounds like.
Or, and this kind of hurts my brain because I don't love the whole like multi-platform life dimensional thing.
Right? It hurts everyone's brains.
But like, so I think the language here is pretty specific too, because he says this is where our dead come to rest. So is it the dead of hell? Is there a different level of hell that has like life beings? Or is this world connected to their world irrevocably into where these souls go into hell as the second life?
I thought that in the end, when Bryce dies, Jessica meets her there. They're in a different place, and she even mentions this is the place where the dead are supposed to go, and this is where
that's
she
hell.
met. Is that hell? How beautiful!
I think that's hell.
But that's what I'm saying. Is it again like what you're saying with
But it's
like
probably
Dante's
the first
Inferno?
ring. It's probably
to
like the
where
first
it's,
ring of
Okay.
hell.
at the
Of
top.
purgatory. Yeah, it's like purgatory before you actually like walk through the door to the final gate.
Because even
Okay.
Ada says, like, this is just the portion that we're allowing you to see.
100%.
We have everything that makes you feel comfortable and happy and like everything about your life that made it your life, you know?
Interesting.
So maybe hell, that's why they have such a fight in this game, is because the two worlds are irrevocably connected.
I think so too. But I think it's not just Midgard. I think they're connected to a lot of worlds.
Right, because the brothers are
Yeah.
off fighting
The
shit in
the
other
brothers
So
are
in a
all
way,
fighting in
like,
other
are they
worlds.
gods?
No, I think they're the underworld for all of these universes.
Remember, we kind of think that one of the brothers is over in
Is Thanatos, yeah.
Is Thanatos in Prythian?
Yeah.
and if Fury's his daughter, then that means that Hunt and Fury are related
True.
in a weird way because he's made.
Yeah, but I do think
Anyway, that was a spinoff.
like it's like if I'm picturing like this multiverse and there's all these different planets floating around and hell's a planet, like to me it's like they're the dead realm for all of the other planets in this little multiverse. It's like kind of how I'm picturing it.
Yeah.
And like
I also-
maybe each ring, guarded by each of these brothers is for different types of beings and creatures that come from all these different worlds. Like, the Fae
And
aren't
that's
going to
why the
recognize
other brothers are helping with the other fight with the other Asteri.
Yeah,
Ugh.
exactly. But
Well-
that's just my 2 cents on that.
No, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
The other cool part about this scene is I feel like all of the brothers feel very normal.
Yeah.
And very like, we're in our world and like, this is who we are. Like you see our persona, but like this is who we are. He's like, I just like sitting here with my dogs.
Yes.
Can I get you some tea?
But we see that Thanatos is much more normal in this whole scene. So like it definitely, because I think earlier when we theorized about it, we were like, well, he seems kind of evil and demented. Could he be the same Night Court Lord? And in this scene is much more like, well, maybe he could be or related like in some way, whether he's like dreaming or whatever is happening.
Tying back to what you're saying though, to going back to the mystics really fast. I know, I'm sorry.
Projecting their minds.
Projecting their minds. Maybe they are tied in with the Asterian magic and that's why they torture the mystics.
And maybe like that power comes from Thanatos because he has that ability as a soul, like guider, eater, whatever he is. He can move his soul from one world to another by like projecting his mind.
Yeah. So he seeks out the mystics. He seeks out the mystics and tortures them because they're part of the Asteri.
Yes. And that's also how he gets from the Night Court to hell, is because he can mind project. Okay. Woo! Anyways, we went down a rabbit hole there. I do love in this scene, though, they talk about when they made Hunt, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think the Hunt kind of obviously gave pause of like, my mother, though, was a woman and did you rape my mother, basically?
Yeah.
It was like the insinuation. And Adis was like, we guard nightmares, we're not monsters. And I really loved just that line. But it was just like, it's so true. Like you think of us as these like with the demons and everything of hell being this like evil place, but we're not. That's a different type of monster. Like, and we would never do that.
Yeah. Also, Hunt's maturity level, in contrast to Bryce's maturity level on all of this journey is insane because he was focusing on the mission. He's like, I want to know these details. Let's talk about all of what's happening and where we're going and what's going to happen. And then at the very end, he's like, my mom.
Yeah.
Question mark. And they're just like, no, that's not how it was. And we also get the tidbit about the person who was helping them that was working with the Asteri, which
His
I think
father.
which is an
Yeah.
important detail
Mhm.
that for a very long time, even before Ophion, there were people trying to infiltrate the Asteri and get them out.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, and then they finally head back to the caves. They confront the two Osel kings and kill them. Yay.
Bam.
And
Bye, babies.
she frees Avalon, etc., etc. She says maybe she also woke up the land around the prison in Prithian. I think she absolutely did because she also took the power there and freed the land. So
She did.
Yeah.
once again, you have to read this book because that means when we jump into Aptar 6, everyone's going to be like, what's happening at the prison? All the prisoners are getting out. It's a land of beauty and plenty now. Maybe we'll see some Pegasus. I certainly hope so. And then Ethan and Hypaxia are doing their own journey and they meet up with Bryce after she frees Avalon. And Ethan keeps being like, I fucked up. Listen to Woe Is Me. And everyone else is just like, bro, we don't care. We're fighting a war. Like, who cares about Sigrid? We're fighting a fucking war against the Asteri. And I could not agree with them more. I'm just like, shut the fuck up, Ethan.
Yeah. Ethan
God,
is really selfish.
So they all go their separate ways. And this is interesting that, like, almost immediately Hypaxia finds the cure for the parasite in the water.
Yeah.
I think that was just like a plot point convenience thing because it was like she literally looked at it for 5 minutes. Okay.
Well, and she does try and create an excuse to where she's like, oh, well, I used the last serum from the previous book.
Right.
To where it's like, I already had Bryce's thing for the synth.
She already had a blueprint.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
she's like, I kind of had the building blocks already to build this. So I just utilized this. And I'm like, wow, you're really brilliant. And also kind
Easy.
of terrible at being a necromancer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, girl, just stop trying.
And queen. Terrible at being a queen too.
I'm excited for her redemption arc. I feel like she needs one.
Yeah,
she doesn't annoy me in any way, but she just struggles.
She just feels very timid to me. Where I'm like, make a decision, get it together, be decisive, and like, and that was her whole issue with being a queen too. When she was queen of the witches, it was like you just didn't know how to lead. You didn't know how to rule. You were too timid about everything, questioning everything.
But hey, maybe her arc in CC4 is going to like give us history of the witches from Thrones of Glass.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
et cetera. And her like coming into her own and her power and learning her history. I would love that.
Yeah.
So Ethan goes to the den. He's going to be all like, listen, we're drinking a parasite, blah, blah. And of course, Sigrid's there with Sabine because they both fucking suck. And, you know, he does finally snap and kill Sabine. And he takes the Fendir sword and shatters it between his teeth. So I think the whole series, I think everyone in this world assumes that sword is like some kind of magical sword, but I don't think that it
You could only wield it.
I don't think
if
it
you're
is. I think it held more like emotional weight than anything.
I agree.
Agree. And I'm wondering if it was Fenris's.
Yeah.
But it's like, we know from Thrones of Glass, Fenris's sword was nothing special. It was just a sword. But I could see it like if it was passed down from generation to generation, that they would think it's something special from their homeland that had more magic. I saw yesterday someone commenting on our podcast clip post when we're talking about the whole Fenris crossover. And they thought, like, is Fenris the one who wrote the book that Danica found about the heritage, which is why he's not actually in it, which I thought was like an interesting little spin. Yeah.
I don't hate
I like it. I like it.
I don't either. Yeah.
I can't really find anything wrong with it. I mean, we don't know enough about it to actually be like, nope, not that. But like, I like that.
I like it too. Like, that's why he's not in it, is because he was the one writing it about his like children or whatever.
Yeah, it probably left off on him. He's like, well, I mean, I can't say further.
Well, and while all that's happening, Bryce gives Nesta her parents.
Oh, we have issues.
We have
leaves
issues.
Cooper.
Yep. We all were in our group text just being like, I can't believe she fucking leaves Cooper. I would murder her.
Murder. The fact that she left Cooper behind, it just feels very much like, "You're not that important to me, but my parents
I
are really
agree.
important to me." And it's gross, and I know that later on they try to make it
It's like,
sound like she has, like,
Fury's
this
got her.
relationship with him, you know,
Well, she also has
but
a reason of like, my parents would have thought it was suspicious if I needed him to come. And I'm just like, would
no.
they?
Would they? Because it's just like,
W
hey guys, I need you guys to come with me. And they would be like, cool, yeah, great.
And we need to
Also,
bring Cooper.
not even
Yeah.
talk about the fact that Cooper's already gone through this whole traumatic bullshit. And then he's
Abandonment.
supposed to be trusting this family. And then Bryce is just like, hey, so I'm just going to leave you here with my friends and like, you're gonna be fine. I
Yeah,
might
don't
not
worry.
be able to bring my parents back to you, even though I like did all this paperwork to make them your like guardian.
Mom and dad?
Like, no, I hate it.
I hate
hate
it.
it.
I don't like it at all.
I don't either. She was wrong. I'll fight her in the streets.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think this is like one of the only things that happens in any of her books where I'm like, I don't even see why you did this, why this made sense to you. You're a mother too. Like, I don't get this.
Yeah.
It feels a little like plot convenience, which sucks. So while she's doing that, Hypaxia and Ethan go visit the Underking, and we found out he is from Aurelia, which is the Thrones of Glass universe. What is he? So the theory is that he's a barrow wight because he also says that in that land he lived in caves and barrows. Which is interesting because when we see the barrow wights, I did not really envision them being like that smart or sentient, but it kind of makes sense. Like they make you live nightmares. He's kind of like the king of nightmare realm, or I guess he could be like a
Valg?
Valg. Yeah, but like it's like, is he? I don't know.
But is he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He
because
says he's
again,
birthed from the void.
So is he with like Thanatos? Like, is he one of Thanatos's
Which like
creations?
feels a little more barrow whitey to me, of like nightmares, void, like
Yeah.
whatever. Because like to me also it's very hard to kill the Valg. Like if they're like actually of import. Like remember they had to heal it out of King whatever his name is. But yeah, so I just don't see them being able to like freeze him and slice him with a sword and being done. Like
Yeah.
if he was truly
Yeah.
a Valg. But it's like also, you know, there's obviously all these theories around Keltane being like these skeletal,
Bryaxis?
like, yeah, like being Bryaxis or being like the Serial. There's also a big theory that she's a Serial.
I'm saying no to that one.
Yeah. So it's like, but I don't want her to be the Underking. Like that, he's not nice. So like,
I think he's
the only
created like Hunt.
explanation to me is that he was a barrow wight.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
if he truly came from Aurelia and like slid in with the Fae coming through, that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Sure.
And maybe they're just more
Yeah.
sentient and smart than we give them credit for. This one had a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like Rigelus with the plans.
exactly. But like to me, it's like he even says he lived in caves and barrows. So that has to be like the biggest tip off of like
Sure.
barrow white barrows. And maybe because, you know, Rigelus like was big in this world in some way, he gave him like extra powers or something when he got to Midgard and discovered him, was like, I'm gonna put you in charge of this realm. Here's
Right.
some extra powers. But Ethan gives Perry the antidote back at the den. And he kind of talks about how it almost doesn't stick. And he mentions it a few times that like
I
she
thought he was
smells the same.
I think she didn't
Yeah.
take it. I don't
You
think
think
that
she
it
didn't
stick.
take it?
I think she chose not to take it because maybe she was afraid of what she would become. Maybe she was worried.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because we never find out why or like where that went.
Yeah. And I think we'll learn more about her in the next book because I believe that she is meant to be with Ethan.
I think they're mates.
Interesting.
And that's why the smell.
Oh, maybe she did take it, and the reason she
It could be
smells the
that.
same is because it's his
Is
mate.
because they're mates. Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought that also. I was kind of flipping because I was like, I think she's his mate, which is why he can smell her and she smells a certain way to him. But I also thought maybe she didn't take it because it's her personality.
But
I think
no.
it's
I feel
almost written like she didn't take it, but I think she did because she does seem to have more power.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
I
maybe
think
it's a
it's-
mate
I think
thing.
it's the
it's
mate
the
thing.
mates.
I think it's the mate thing. I
Yeah,
think you're right.
mates.
And he just doesn't understand what he's smelling. and why it's not
Right,
changing.
because he's not yet open to the idea of her. Like, he gets
Right.
frustrated. Like, he was frustrated that she was talking to another guy. Like, he didn't like
Right.
that conversation happening. There was some jealousy. He couldn't explain why he felt that way. It's like, yes, you can. You're just dumb.
Yeah, or possibly it could also be one of those things to where it's like the indicator that maybe she's had more of the parasite or something. Maybe it didn't last on her
Well, that
as
was
long. Like,
my original thought, was like it was something nefarious of like, oh, what's going on here that it's not working on her. But I think you're right. It actually probably is more mate vibes.
I think it's mate.
I'm on board with that. So then
Yep.
they all run into war, and there's lots of
battle time!
fighting. It's battle time. Rune and Lydia go rescue her sons. He shoots her, but he also admits that she is his mate. Woo! And we find out that Lydia does actually have fire power magic, and she named her son after Brandon from Aurelia. So yes, like obviously she is from the Thrones of Glass universe, because when I posted our podcast clip of us talking about it, last episode, people were like,
Mhm.
well, duh, she says like she's descended from Brennan. And I'm like, that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking like, it's so obvious she's from Aurelia. We're talking about, is she descended from Aelin, which is absolutely a theory. She doesn't say she's descended from Aelin, which to me, the ring is like really the suggestion of that relationship.
I agree.
I did see someone in a theory
To which she gives
say,
back to her Brandon.
yes, is that like, they found her ring in that cave. So maybe it's like another ring from that same cave or something that Lydia got. But I just feel like it's too specific for it to be that big.
I agree. And the fire. And that's how she
Yeah.
was protecting Sathya in the caves. Like,
Yep. And she was like, no one noticed me. But yeah, I think she's major alien vibes. Yep.
Always
well,
wondered
yeah,
about
because
her in
she's
the
a deer
flames.
shifter. How did a deer shifter get flames? That's the
Mhm.
question. Who is in your lineage?
Exactly. And it has to be Aelin, Mala
Yep.
Firebringer. Like, come on, fire-breathing bitch queen. Like, which I know Aelin gets it
She also has
from
blonde hair.
the same source. So, like, yes, they could be on different branches, the same
Of
way,
Brennan's line.
yeah, same way Aelin and Dorian are technically related. But it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the ring says it all to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's a direct
It's an
family line
heirloom.
to where it was like passed
It's
down.
an heirloom. Yep. Then Bryce kicks some Asteri ass, but she dies in the process. And just like Rhys and Akawar, she's brought back to life, but via Jessica this time.
Jessica's sacrifice.
Yes.
We love
And I
Jessica.
love that she was like, I was waiting for the right moment.
She was tired.
And
The girl
Apollyon
was
was there.
die.
She was like, fuck
Yes.
you, bitch.
And I also love that
I'm
she's just
out.
like, it's always so hard to find a good assistant. I gotta bring this one back to life. So Bryce goes and retrieves her parents from Nesta, and she gives Nesta the Star Sword and Truth Teller and tells her to go figure out why she had an 8-pointed star on her back, which this is the biggest, to me, theory into ACOTAR 6 of what ACOTAR 6 is going to be about. I know we all talked about, everyone thinks it's going to be obviously about Azrael and Elaine, but we talked about how we really think it's going to be a Nesta story arc because Nesta's only had one book. And I think this is right here what is absolutely telling me that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a huge Nesta arc along with Azrael and Elaine and other things. I think it's to be written more like Thrones of Glass and Crescent City, where it's less like here's one story.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
guys seen the emoji theory?
Emoji theory? No, please do share.
Yeah. So apparently every single book, SJM pairs emojis whenever she does teasers. And so with this one, she did music notes. And I'm like, well, clearly it's Nesta. It's gotta be.
It's gotta be.
Because that's Nesta.
It's Nesta. It's also just
She's
like
the dancer
where
soul.
we've left off.
It is.
Like in terms of true story, so there are bonus chapters we get of Azrael and Elaine, but they're bonus chapters. And a lot of authors, they tend not to lead off of bonus content too much because not everyone does read them. So like,
Yeah.
yes, I think it gives us insight into Azrael and Elaine and their relationship. But to me, this is full on in a book, like ready to go. Like this is gonna be a big chunk of Akatar 6 and 7 and 8.
I feel like it's still gonna be about, like, Elaine because we have Lucian, and that is also in the book, and it's brought up many times where he comes to visit her, she doesn't wanna see him, it's awkward, they're in the same room
Right.
together. Like, there's no resolution there. There needs to
No.
be resolution, and I feel like it's coming.
I think just people forget about Nesta. Like, I think there's so much talk about this being an Azrael Elaine or
I'm like, I forget about Elaine, if I'm being honest, you guys. Like,
yeah. But like
she's
everyone
very
is so
forgettable.
convinced that that is going to be the main point of this book, and I'm like, I don't know.
No,
I
it's
think it's
Nesta.
actually going to be more about Nesta, and that Azrael and Elaine are going to be more of like
The
the
saucy scribes are calling it, you
the
guys. It's going to be
understory.
about Nesta.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, I think it's like gonna be all of those things, but I think people in their, ideas about what it's gonna be about, they kind of forget about that Nesta still has this huge story arc that needs to be also figured out.
That was also built upon in CC3 that we're
Yes.
discussing now, because it's like notating the warrior aspect. It's notating this
Right.
literal journey. The fact that
Mhm.
clearly, like, she and Azrael are like a little teamy team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all of the
Mhm.
cosmic breadcrumbs are there that it's going to be the Nesta arc.
And I bet because
And
it
I
is
like it.
Nesta and Azrael, I bet they're gonna go on this Starborn journey together because he clearly is also somewhat Starborn. And it's gonna be like a self-discovery for him and for her. And while he's discovering himself, we're gonna get probably an Elaine love story as well, and like Lucian side character story. Like I
Yep.
think it's gonna be all of that. Yes.
Yep.
We start to wrap up this story. Therion goes in search of his wife who ran off to rescue her high school boyfriend, and he randomly runs into Ariadne, like
The dragon.
the dragon lady. And it's literally just like, oh, hey, girl. And then we never, like, that's it. Like, that's end of book. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
why, once again? Like, she clearly must be important for CC4 because she keeps just like randomly popping up in the story. But I'm also
Yeah.
like, can we get more? Because like right now I'm just like, why do you exist?
Yeah,
We're
I
going
mean,
to find
definitely,
out.
I feel like she also placed her there in the end because he worried about her, right? He felt responsible for her disappearance because he told
being
her,
sold
don't,
off.
yeah,
Right.
don't kill him.
And she didn't want to
Don't
fight
kill
Ethan. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that was like a little bit of a Band-Aid. I'll call it a Band-Aid for us
Maybe she
because,
takes down the Viper Queen.
you know what? I hope that happens.
Maybe.
I hope that happens.
But also, like, here's the thing: is I don't hate the Viper Queen. Like,
I don't either.
I
Because it's
know
a balance. You know what I mean?
it is, but I also don't think she's inherently like evil. I think
No.
her getting Ethan to fight Sigrid was actually positive. I think
Yeah, I
they
agree.
took it all as negative, but I think the Viper Queen was like, you're putting all your money on this random chick you don't know who's actually
You don't
going to be
even
a
know
terrible
her.
leader.
You haven't even
You-
vet her.
You are the leader of the wolves. Kill this bitch. And she like forced Ethan into this path he didn't want to take, and I think she did it knowingly and on purpose. Like I
Well,
don't
to
think it was
show-
just for shits and giggles.
No, I think it's to
I
show
agree.
Sigrid's true personality or true
Yeah.
who she actually is, because they have her so timid and so scared and so everything, but it's like no, this
She's
bitch will
not.
kill you and she doesn't care. And like,
Yes.
is that
the
who
person
you
who
want?
rescued her? The person who rescued
Yeah.
her, she's gonna kill. That's the type of person
Yeah.
she is. And I think that's what she was the Viper Queen was trying to expose. So, like, I don't think of the Viper Queen as like this evil person we need to get rid of.
She's
I kind of like her.
opportunistic. Yeah.
She is,
Like,
but
I
like
don't love the meat
I don't
market
dislike her.
situation, but like I don't dislike the Viper Queen.
No.
Because every single time she's been trying to keep the balance
Yeah.
correct. Because even with like the selling of the synth and hunt
Mm-hmm.
situation, she is the checks and balances
Yeah,
of the city almost.
Yeah.
I agree. And then lastly, Bryce abolishes the Fae hierarchies and she promotes democracy, and the Pegasus come back and everyone begins to live happily ever after until Sarah J. Maas picks up her pens and destroys them all in CC4, which we can't wait for.
And calling and freaking out about the Pegasus was truly
Adorable.
just one of my favorite things of this entire series.
Absolutely.
He's like, get
This
your
big-
asses over here.
This big strong man is like, I need you to come here now. They're flying.
Yeah, I love
Horses with
Baxian.
wings.
So do I.
I'm
want
really-
more Baxian.
I'm really curious about where his storyline is going to go because obviously he's lost his mate. Like,
Yeah.
are we going to
Did he get
get
a
a
second
love
chance?
story? Yeah, are we going to get a second chance love story? We don't see those that often in romantasy. It's usually like a romance novel trope.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be really fun if she played with that trope.
I mean, look,
I
I
agree.
come from like the back streets of like romantasy. It definitely is a trope for second chance mates. You just don't see it that often in like the more popular books. But I do want him to have a second chance mate. I feel like he deserves it. I mean, he chewed off Rune's hand.
Yeah,
He told Hunt, "I got you, bro. You don't got to do this. That's your
he
brother-in-law.
totally deserves it.
I'll
Yeah,
chew it
he
off."
was helping and helping and helping whether or not anybody wanted him to or asked him to or even gave him any credit for. He was
Mhm.
helping
Yeah,
a lot.
love him.
I love him too. And that wraps up our threads of theory for Crescent City, House of Flame and Shadow. With the theories laid out and the threads traced, it's time to step back from the analysis and let ourselves feel this book for what it is, which means it's time for the Roses segment, where we discuss the moments that hit hardest, lingered longest, and reminded us why this story hurts so good. Let's hold court. All right, what are your roses for CC3?
Definitely the continuation of the crossover.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Avalon coming back to life.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the Asteri being gone? Question mark?
Question mark? I love the Lydia and Rune storyline in general. I wish we got more of it, and I hope we get more of it in CC4.
Yeah.
It felt not enough to me. I loved it so much.
It
Yes.
was very rocky and tumultuous for this
Yes.
story. So
That's a rose for me too. Lydia and Rune, another rose, and this is it may not be a popular one, but Therian and Sathya.
Sathya?
I want to
Mm.
know. I want to
I
know.
do. That's a bud. That's my bud.
yeah,
Okay,
Therian
Sathya
and
is a bud for me
True.
as well.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move that to Bud. I agree. That's
Yeah.
a Bud. But yeah, Lydia and Rune were my favorite in this whole thing, and obviously the crossover, like duh, because that just gave us more
Ate it up.
stuff to
Ate
build
it up.
on. Like yeah.
The whole Prithian
Obs.
section, I was just like, hum,
Yep.
bubbling. Like holding my breath every sentence, just like give me more. I wish Rhysand had been in it more, but I know his era has ended of being like the main character, but I'm still like, give me more Rhysand, please.
They're being mom and dad.
Yeah.
At the end, he's like, oh, Rhys is an old softie. He's just an overprotective dad. And I'm like, yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is. Yes,
I can't wait to see overprotective
Who
dad
nailed you to
Rhys
the
in
bedpost.
ACOTAR 6.
I know.
Can't wait.
He's an overprotected daddy. He'll nail you to the bedpost.
There is nothing more attractive than like, at least to me, maybe it's because I have kids, is like a man being a good dad around your kid is just like
Completely. Yeah.
like
100%.
so attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't wait to see it on Rhys.
What about our thorns?
Whew. Bryce, man, I struggle with her in this book a lot. Like, and I know a lot of the fandom does, which is why I think CC3 out of the 3 series is a lot of the least favorite for people. And I think it's because of CC3, because she gets so annoying in this book. Like, even by the end, at least for me, I'm like over her antics. I'm like, okay, you followed them into the black hole. Okay. Like,
you hate the Fae. We get it.
Exactly. You hate the Fae. We get it. They have no redeeming qualities. Like it's just like what we talked about
Except
earlier.
for
She's
this one,
immature.
this one, or, you know?
Yeah, she's immature. And to me, she doesn't grow enough in this book to not to like get past that. So maybe we just need CC4 for me to like her again.
Yeah. Mine is definitely Bryce being a dick through a lot of this. And also the Ethan storyline.
Like, God, Ethan, my man, you got to make a choice.
Yes, and Therian going to the meat market and joining forces with the like. Come on,
the thing
bro.
is,
but see, I understand that one.
I understand it too. The Therian storyline annoys me way less because I can almost see. I can see the arc forming. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Of like someone going through a hard time, making all the wrong decisions, and he's gonna come out of it at the end.
And out of choices.
Yes, and he's out of choices. Ethan is privileged. Ethan is a privileged little wolf pup who just keeps making wrong decision after wrong decision and just trying to fix it all the wrong way instead of asking anyone for their opinion or help. Like, I'm just
literally.
I'm gonna kill you myself.
I love that Jessica calls him pup all the time. Jessica's like, okay,
because he
pup.
is.
Like, you dumbass pup, get over here. Shelve these books for me.
I hate him. He's gonna need some
yeah.
serious redemption arc to like him.
Yeah, that was a thorn for me also. That whole Sigrid hymn line, like, I was done. Yeah. And that leads us into our trims.
The Sigrid is my trim.
Yeah.
Oh, Sigrid, definitely. And Ariadne. I'm just like, I get that you're dropping these breadcrumbs that clearly she's important, but like, I need more information to care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit.
Like,
a little bit.
A little bit more. I don't get it.
Yeah. No, I understand that completely.
Yeah.
Because we don't know enough about her. I mean, in the last book, we left off with, okay, clearly you're an important character, but you were an asshole, but maybe it's because you were hurt. And then in this book, we still don't know a lot about you, but you're warming up a little bit, but you disappear through 98% of the book.
Yeah.
98%.
We had more about Sathya than Ariadne.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I just am like, what is your purpose in this story? Like, I don't.
Yeah, when she was like sold, I was like, oh, that's the end. And then at the end, Therion's like, oh, hey.
Hey, girl,
like,
hey.
literally, if you took her out of the whole series, almost nothing would change. And if she had just disappeared, you would also have forgotten about her.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like,
put ointment on him.
And I feel like if she's supposed to be very important, she should be a bud for our next book, not a trim.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it was really underdeveloped.
My other trim is Cooper being left.
Ooh.
For sure. Oh,
he should have been with them. There was no reason for him to not.
I also didn't love the whole black hole fix thing at the end. It just felt where he like follows her into the black hole and like gets her. It all just felt kind of like silly.
Spirit of his ex guides him to his mate. She's like, you're welcome.
I almost feel like it would have been better if she had just like killed them all with a star sword and called it a day. Like, it just felt a little like, okay, was this the way we wanted to do this? Okay.
The resurrection trope.
Yeah, because she already did it with Reese, so it was kind of like, was this necessary?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about buds, though. I feel like we have a lot.
I mean, I really hope there's more like actual crossover. I hope for some reason Bryce uses the horn on her back and becomes better friends with Nesta, please.
I would love that.
I would absolutely love that. I don't know if that's really going to happen, but I'm also really excited about Therion, which is really a weird thing to think.
No,
at the end of this.
Between book 1 and book 3, who would have thought?
Who would have thought that we want to know
Ethan,
more?
I could say goodbye to. Therion, I'm excited to see where the storyline goes.
Well, I mean, Ethan annoys me, but I'm kind of hoping that maybe she'll grow him up a little bit and that something will happen with him and Perry. Because also, remember, Perry's sister was Amelie. Amelie it was kind of vying for his role, and she even underhandedly, like, she said, oh yeah, like, bow down, I recognize you as the Prime. But then when they got scared and she bounced with everyone as kind of like the leader, oh, I'm just escorting them, making sure that they're protected. Bitch, you want his role so bad you could taste it. But wait and see. Her sister's going to end up Ethan's mate. I'm calling it right now. They're going to be in-laws, and she's going to have to suck it up, soldier.
I mean, but that's the interesting thing, too, because, like, as one of my buds, I'm interested to see where the Perry storyline goes. But also, I am more than willing to let go of Ethan.
More than.
Perry becomes a Prime.
I do actually think that they're mates, but also I can't tell you how disinterested in the Ethan storyline I am.
So disinterested. Whereas like the Therion one, I'm like excited for with Sathya. I'm like, ooh, this feels like it's gonna get good.
I'm big into the Sathya storyline.
Okay, but do you think that it's because we love Sathya more than we love Therion?
No, I've always loved Therion more.
I've always liked Therion more than Ethan.
Well, no, yes, obviously. But I'm saying is the reason why we're so interested in seeing what's going to happen with Therion, and because we love Sathya more than we love Therion, because she kind of presented herself as like this like silenced badass woman. and we want to see her develop.
I don't think so. I think it's both because
Okay.
I've always,
All right.
even though Tharion definitely annoys me sometimes, I've
Yes.
always been really interested in his character. So
And also,
Yeah.
I get where he's coming
Flirt.
from.
yeah, exactly. So I think it's both. I'm also excited about Hypaxia. Like, I want to see her get a redemption arc with Celestina. Like, I kind of hope that's like our first like big gay relationship that we see in the universes. That's like not just like a side note. That would be great.
I'm also
Yeah.
interested in the history of Hypaxia. I would like to know
Same. more
about
The witches.
past and the witches and all of that.
Yep, I agree.
And also a little bit more about Lydia and her relationship with Hypaxia and their mother.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
was
I
her
wanna see
mother
some
so
sister.
Big. Some sister love there.
Yeah, agree. Because now they'll have the time.
Yeah. I'm also super interested in like Gwydion going home and where that goes, but I think that's going to be in Akatar. Still a bud though.
Still a
Mhm.
bud, yes.
The Pegasus. I'm very excited about the Pegasus.
I love the
Yes.
Pegasus. I really hope we see a lot of them.
More Baxian, please. I love him.
Yeah,
Yes.
I really wanna know where Baxian's storyline is going.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me some second chance love trope, ma'am.
How are we
Yeah.
feeling?
Feeling
good.
good.
Feeling good? Feeling great?
And that brings us to the end of our House of Flame and Shadow deep dive. Somehow. I don't know about you, but I'm still not over half of what just happened, and I'm absolutely frothing at the mouth for Akatar 6 in October.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for coming along for this chaotic, theory-filled ride with us. We seriously love getting to scream about these books with you every month. And thank you to the Saucy Scribes for letting this book bestie guest host on the pod. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Saved our day.
Yeah. Scribes, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast, leave us a rating, and write a review. It really helps more book besties find us and join the chaos.
But don't go too far because next up we're diving into Direbound. And Ashley is officially back to break it all down with us. It's darker, it's sharper, and we already have all of the theories.
We'll see you in the next one.
Saucy
Saucy
Scribes.
Scribes.
Scribes
Out.
out.
Love you guys.